In this video, we're going to look at some quick worked examples of drawing linear graphs from a table of values. Let's start off with the equation of a straight line. An example might be y is equal to 2x plus 1, and we might be asked to graph this equation for values of x between -3 and +3. All I'm going to do here is draw up a table of values. So we're going to have values of x and the corresponding y value. Once I have those, I'm simply going to plot coordinates and draw a straight line through the points. So we're going to have values of x and the corresponding y value. So we take -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2 and 3. Often it's easiest to start with 0 and work to the right and then consider the relationship that's forming from our values. So what we're going to do is take the value of x in the equation now to find the value of y. So if we start with x is 0, 2 lots of 0 is going to give me 0, plus 1 will give me 1. So when x is 0, y is equal to 1. I've simply substituted now x is equal to 0. Let's now look at x is equal to 1. 2 lots of 1 is 2, plus 1, that's going to give me 3. If I now have x equal to 2, 2 lots of 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. We can see that this graph is going up by 2 each time. So if we're not confident with the negative values, instead of substituting them in, we can simply subtract 2 back. So let's now put x is equal to 3. When x is equal to 3, y will be 2 lots of 3, which is 6, plus 1, which is 7. So we can see now that this is going up by 2 each time. So if you weren't confident to substitute in -1, we could simply subtract away 2 from here, and that would give us -1. Subtracting 2 again would give us -3, and subtracting 2 again would give us -5. If you want, you can simply start from this end and substitute the values in. 2 times by -3 is -6, plus 1 is -5. 2 times by -2 is -4, plus 1 is -3. 2 times by -1 is -2, plus 1 is -1. What we now have are x and y coordinates that we can plot. Again, if you want to start with the easier ones, we'll start here. When x is equal to 0, y is equal to 1. So all I'm going to do is plot that now on the coordinate axis. So here we have the x-axis. So this now is the x-axis, and this is going to be the y-axis. We've got now 0, 1. X is 0, y is 1. That's just here. If we now look at x is equal to 1, y is going to be equal to 3. So we're going to have 1, 3, and that will be just there. The next one is going to be 2, 5. X is 2, y is 5. And then finally on this one, we're going to have 3 and 7, which would be about there. Let's now look at this one here. We've got -1, -1. X is -1, y is -1. We should see now that the gradient of this line is 2. It's going across 1 for every 2 it goes up. So the next one, we're going to have x is -2, y is -3, and that's going to be just here. The next one, x is going to be -3, and y is going to be -5. So all I've done is looked now at the coordinates here. So if we look at this one, I've taken the 0 and 1, and if we wanted to plot this, it would be now 0, 1. I've taken 1 and 3. If we wanted to plot this, the coordinates would be x is 1, y is 3, 2 and 5, and so on and so forth. So all I've done is gone ahead and plotted these. You shouldn't have any points outside the line. If you do, you end up, or you should say, you need to go back and look at the table and check your values. All I'm going to do now is draw a straight line through those points, and I'm going to label up the graph y is equal to 2x plus 1. So y is equal to 2x plus 1. And this now is the values of x between -3, which is just here, and then +3, which is just there. So if we were given other values, we would need to take into consideration other values. So all I've done is constructed now the equation of a straight line, which is a linear graph from a table of values which I've worked out. Let's do another one. Let's have now on here x plus y is equal to 5. So x plus y is equal to 5, and we will do now values of x, and we'll take now x from, and we'll have x from 0 now to positive 5. In fact, we'll take it to 6. Let's go to 6. So we might be asked to draw this line. This is an equation of a straight line. It's in a slightly different form. One thing that you could do is rearrange this and have it in the same form that we did last time. That is the form y is equal to mx plus c. So if you wanted, you could rewrite this as y is equal to 5 minus x. You might find it easier to do this, or you could just go ahead and construct a table. So if we think about this now, we're going to have values of x and the corresponding y values. Once we have those, we can plot our coordinates. So if we do this now, we're taking x from 0 to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So if x is going to be 0, I've got y will be equal to 5. If you want to do this really manually, if x is 0, 0 plus what number is 5, the answer is going to be 5. If x is 1, 1 plus y is 5, that means that y would have to be 4. So we're doing this in a very manual way. If you'd gone the other way, you could say y is 5 minus x, so 5 minus 0, 5 minus 1, 5 minus 2. I'm just taking this particular form and calculating them as we go. So we can see that would be 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. When x is 3, y must be equal to 2. When x is 4, y must be equal now to 1. When x is going to be 5, y would be equal to 0. And when x is 6, y must be equal now to minus 1. We can see that this is going down by 1 each time. So 7 would be minus 2. And in the same way, if we were asked for negative values, we would end up going the other way. So let's go ahead and plot these. What we're going to have then is 0, 5. So our first set of coordinates are when x is 0, y is 5. So here is the x-axis across here, and then the y-axis just here. So we're going to find now the point 0, 5. X is going to be 0, y is 5. That's just there. So all I've done is plotted now the coordinates 0, 5. 1, 4, well x is 1 here, and then y is 4. Then we're going to have x is 2, which is just here, and y is going to be 3. Then we'll have now x is 3, y is 2. We're going to have now x is 4, y is 1. Then we're going to have x is equal to 5, y is equal to 0. And then finally x is 6, y is equal to minus 1. So all I've done is gone through now our table of values, I've plotted the points, and I'm going to draw a straight line through these and then label it up. So I've just taken these points and plotted them on the x, y coordinate axis. So let's go ahead now and put this on. We're interested in x between 0 and 6, and that's what we would end up having. All we'd need to do to finish this off is write now that x plus y is equal to 5, and that's the values of x between the point just here, which is going to be 0 and 6. So that's another example of a graph that you might be asked to draw based on a table of values.